Hey everyone, I'm Dwayne and I'm a dude with an Autotude, and today I'm here with my friend Ray showing off his classic sports car from the 1980s. Leave a comment below if you know what I've got here behind me, but without further ado, let's get into it. So Ray, tell us about your car.
So this is a 1981 AMC Eagle SX4. It's a two-door sports sedan. I call it a Jeep in sheep's clothing. The car I bought off of eBay back in 2009 for $2,200. The folks I bought the car worked for American Motors and intended to race it on this rally race. But when I bought the car, I drove it for 10 years as my daily driver. Did some things to it that I wanted to do to the car. I gave it a 2-inch lift, a 5-speed transmission. Also put in a low-range transfer case in the car, so it's a little easier. Shift on the fly, 4-wheel drive, so I can run it in 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. And then when I got around to restoring the car, I thought put new interior and new paint back on the car, and I thought I'd pay tribute to the guys that originally owned the car. They're going to race in this rally race, and put the original lettering and stuff back on the car. Unfortunately, due to health issues, they were never able to race the car in this rally race, but I thought the guy passed away, and I thought, you know, I'll pay tribute to what they had planned on doing.
Right. Very good. Yeah, I noticed you have the 4.7 liter. That's an inline 6.
It is an inline 6. It's actually a stroke 4.0. I usually had a 4.2 liter in it, and I had an engine go bad on me 2 years ago. Had a piston go out, so I had to go with a stroker 4 liter in it. So it's pretty much a straight bolt in. The 4 liter is a derivative of the original 258 that AMC had, and then Chrysler, when they bought AMC in 88, they took the 258 and kind of turned it into the 4 liter, and then they'll put fuel injection and other things on it to modernize the car for the Jeep line. And so I decided I'm going to go with that engine and put it in the car.
Right. So they originally came out with a 2.5 liter inline 4.
They had an inline 4-cylinder you get as an option, or an inline 6.
Or an inline 6.
Right. The inline 6 was a 258 cubic inch, and then this here is, I want to say, 280 cubic inch now.
Wow.
So,
could you tell a big difference?
A little bit. I mean, it's all seat of the pants type stuff. I don't have any numbers on it.
Right.
The original engine is rated about 120 horsepower. This one here is supposed to be close to 200.
Oh, well, you're going to notice a little difference with that. Now, I bet you get a little more torque out of it.
It does,
since you stroked it.
Yeah.
Can you tell a big difference with the transfer case you put in it?
The low range is awesome, and then the 5-speed in there, you know, it gives me that overdrive for highway driving. So it's nice to pop it into 5th gear and do some cruising. I've taken this to Colorado about 4 different times, taken it to top of Pikes Peak a couple times, took it to Wisconsin to the big AMC show there 2 years ago, and see what comes about and go to different car shows with it.
So there's a big following for AMC across the U.S.?
There is, yeah. There's a couple different clubs. The American Motors Association is the club I belong to, and they have national conventions every year at different locations. And then every 3 years, Kenosha, where all the most AMC cars are made, and their headquarters were there and stuff. Every 3 years, they have a get-together, a reunion type thing. Last time I was there, they had over 800 AMCs.
Wow,
so
that's cool.
It is cool. And the other thing that we've done with the car is when we go to Colorado, one of the places we like to go to is to see the Rambler Ranch. So there's a guy out there that likes AMCs, all the Nashes and Hudsons, because AMC was a merger of Nash and Hudson in 1955. And this guy, Terry Gell's got a place called the Rambler Ranch. And for a while there, every 2 years, he'd have a get-together with all the AMC Eagle guys. So he's got this huge museum with all these cars, and he'd take out all of his Eagles, and he'd have friends to come drive his Eagles, and anybody that wanted to come along and show up.
That'd be fun.
We did cruise around the Colorado countryside and stay at the Eagle Hotel.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
It's probably nice to show up somewhere like a common show to where you have so many people with the same interests in a similar car.
Right.
And you probably find parts and, you know.
Yes, they have big swap meets.
Yeah. Like we talked earlier with some of your other cars, you don't see that many of them here in town. So, or you may have to look for something if you need a part.
The internet's been a great deal for helping with parts these days. You know, it's better than going to the junkyard and scrounging stuff. So then there is, you know, guys that, you know, you can put the word out and say, hey, I'm looking for this part, and they'll respond. So that's kind of a nice thing about the internet with looking for stuff.
Yeah, and they would know what you're looking for because they're really into, you know, the same thing.
Yeah. Flares and stuff are all stock with the Eagle. The original shell for this was actually an AMC Spirits. AMC was looking for something different to continue their product line, so they came out with the Eagle. So they gave it a little bit of a lift. Like I said, I've got a 2-inch lift on the original lift, but it's still a little bit higher. And so to help fill in the wheel well areas, they added the Kratex moldings and stuff on it. The Eagle came in the sport coupe here, a 2-door sedan, 4-door sedan, and a wagon, and also what they called the camback, which is kind of a gremlin looking Eagle as well.
Is it the same length as this? Or
same length as this, but instead of the hatchback's got more of a straight up back, kind of like the Gremlin did.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like the original body style. This is based on the Spirit. The floor pans are different because of the 4-wheel drive stuff underneath it.
Right. What do these things weigh?
About 3,300 pounds for the sedan here. The wagon's probably close to 4,000.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Thing sits real nice. I like the lift on it.
Yeah, I wanted to give it the more aggressive stance.
Yeah.
So I gave it the lift on it and then run the Jeep wheels on it.
It looks like it'd go anywhere.
It
Following you over here is like, oh, that's pretty cool looking from the back.
Yeah. Like I say, it's a Jeep in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's got all the Jeep components, same engine, same rear end, same transfer case, same transmission, same engine. The only thing difference is it's got the independent front suspension where the Jeeps had a solid axle.
You mentioned that it's shifting to all-wheel drive on the fly.
Yes.
And there's no lockouts on this from the early 80s.
No.
A lot of the other companies, you had to get out and flip them.
It's all vacuum operated. The original Eagles, the first 1980 Eagles, were full-time four-wheel drive. 81, they went to a stop, shift a little lever in the driver's compartment there, and then put it in four-wheel drive. And then 83 and on, they switched to shift on the fly. So I modified this with just some vacuum lines and stuff. So you can drive down the road.
So shift on the fly.
Just shift it over, push in the clutch, and shift it over, and then let the clutch out, and away you go.
That's handy, especially if it's snowing out.
And because of the transmission and coupling in this, you can actually go 55 miles an hour in four-wheel drive.
Well, I was going to ask you, is there a certain speed you got to go to? But you did say you had to push the clutch in and probably bring the RPM down.
A little bit, just to give the chance for the couplings to couple. Kind of like when you shift in transmission, you let off the gas a little bit to shift up so that everything can synchronize together, and drops into gear, and away you go.
But 55 miles an hour in four-wheel drive.
Yeah, you don't
hear
and,
about that.
And you don't notice it either when you do it. Now to the four-wheel low, I have to stop and shift the transfer case to put it in low. But just four-wheel high, driving around town, or like say you come up to rain or snow or anything like that, or you can just shift it on the way as you go. Like I said, when I restored the car after driving it for 10 years as my daily driver, I did do new paint. I replicated pretty close to the same paint job that they had on the car. They had some extra stripes and stuff on it, but I kind of kept it to minimal and stylistic in the way the original car would have had. And then, like I said, the decals and stuff I put back on the car.
That's a nice tribute to them. I do like how you have the black with the red stripe. Really makes the white stand out and the letters. Just notice your wheels are matching. You did a good job with that.
For the 81, there was the SX4, I want to say 17,000. It's a model on top of the Eagle. Okay. So the Eagle came in the wagon, the two-door sedan, four-door sedan, and then the camback, and then the sport coupe. Yeah. Okay. So this particular body style, though, was only went from 81 to 83. The two-door sedan was from 81 to 83 as well, and then the four-door sedan and wagon went all the way up to 88 until Chrysler bought them out. And then the camback was from 80 to 81.
So AMC also owned Jeep as well. You said this is like a Jeep in sheep's clothing. And then Chrysler purchased AMC at some point.
Yeah, they purchased the AMC in 88, pretty much dropped all the car stuff and kept the Jeep line.
The Jeep.
Yeah, so because that was the money-making deal at the time. AMC was really struggling. They were a low-budget competitor to begin with, and that's the reason they took the two-wheel drive base models that they had, the Concorde and the Spirit and the Sportabout wagon, and all those same body styles. They modified them just enough to be able to get all the four-wheel drive underneath all of them. So for a minimal amount of money, they were able to take the 3 cars or 4 cars that they had and put four-wheel drive underneath them and have a crossover between all of them.
I don't think I've ever seen really a four-wheel drive on a car, even when I was a kid. Back it's unheard of. It's like Jeeps or trucks or some of the other types, but not really a sedan.
So I like to call this the original crossover before before the crossover was a thing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so
because that would have been what, 2000s maybe? Crossover?
Yeah, when crossover came out, the term crossover came out. Yeah, but this is so it's ahead of its time.
Yes,
in that essence.
I'm finding that as I'm learning about different cars and interviewing people, is that some of these cars had technology that they're trying to sell today as something that's new.
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute, they had that back then?
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see that, or they try to use it to market the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
It's been around for years. Can we look under the hood?
We sure can. So.
You wouldn't think you could fit an inline 6 in these. There's a lot of room in there.
There is. Actually, I've seen guys put V8s in this, and in fact, the Spirit, which is the two-wheel drive version of this car, came with it. You could get it with a 304 cubic inch.
With those run.
Yeah, they're
for the size of the vehicle.
Yes, yeah, for the lightweightness of the vehicle and stuff, and the 304 is actually dimensionally the same as the AMC's 401. So you could easily drop a 401 in place of your 304. Yeah.
Just change the motor mounts?
Motor mount, cross motor. Now this one here only came in the 4-cylinder or the 6-cylinder. Because of the independent front suspension, it's a lot harder to put the V8 in this. I've seen guys do it on their own, but AMC didn't do that.
They thought maybe they could get a lot more power up on the trails. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, like I say, the Jeep guy's been running the 258 and the 4-liter for years, and there's really nothing wrong with that engine.
It's pretty neat to see an inline 6.
This car originally was a carbureted car. One of the modifications I did to it is put throttle body injection on it. The GM throttle body, guys that makes kit for it, parts, and Holly makes one now too for this particular engine. So it's just turn the key and start right up, no pumping the gas twice or anything like that.
Well, by just looking at it, I thought it was carburetor at first, and I was like, is that an Edelbrock? I saw the Edelbrock on top. So it was like, yeah, that's cool.
Gives me a better power band throughout the range of operation. So the carburetors are finicky to make sure it's got the right fuel air ratio throughout the whole thing. The original carburetor that these cars came with had lots of vacuum lines, lots of controls back. All the cars back in the 80s and stuff had trying to meet emissions and stuff. So I was able to eliminate all of that stuff with the use of the throttle body.
It's nice to update a little bit.
Make the car my own and do stuff. So
I keep honing in on this. The air conditioner. It's just really neat to see the different format that was used with these.
The later cars did come out with the sand style compressor and a serpentine belt, but the early ones had the York compressor and just the V-belt.
It's like it's easy to charge, It's right there. You don't have to dig your hand way back there, and you don't have to burn your arm, and it's pretty cool. Did you upgrade your headlights?
I did. So I put in LED headlights with some eyebrows on it and stuff, and then put the rock guards on.
That's cool.
To add to the more tougher look of the car.
Yeah, you add these as well?
Nope, those aren't the stock ones, but
they came out with those.
They came out with yep.
They really had something going on back then. I mean, other companies weren't doing that.
No,
no. But they own Jeep, and they wanted to provide something a little different for. Did they market this to families?
They did. Yeah, the big marketing push was for families, especially the wagon. Put the kids in the back and stuff, or the 4-door sedan.
And the Jeeps were for the trails.
That's it.
Yeah. So that way you can go to the grocery store and it starts snowing out and come home, or come outside and just load in 4-wheel drive on the fly.
Yeah. So I've had this out in the fields and stuff when it does snow out here in Kansas, but about 14 inches of snow and not a problem. Just get in and go.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And that's just in the 4-wheel drive high range, not even in low range.
Right.
It's just the way the transfer casing is, it works really well to put power to all 4 wheels, and it's really fun to drive in the snow.
Do these come out with a Positrack type rear end or locking type rear end?
It was originally single. This one here I did option. The 2-wheel drive cars had an option to put in a locking diff in it, and I did put the locking diff in this one as well.
Thought of everything that
if
you're going to do it, you might as well do it to where it.
I'm a tinkerer, so I like tinkering with stuff, and I thought I will do that.
I know that my own car that I tinker with, it's just something I get a lot of mental therapy out of, just tinkering. It doesn't have to be major.
No.
Well, can we take a ride?
Sure.
Oh yeah, it feels like you're up.
Yeah.
Seats are comfortable.
They are.
And it indeed feels like a 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
This is cool.
It's got a little bit of a rough drive, especially for the shorter wheelbase.
Right.
So I know the wagons and stuff have a lot smoother ride.
You could probably take this being the shorter wheelbase, probably more places than you could a wagon.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. Some of the promotional videos that AMC had for when they were selling the car showed all the different models going to the beach and surfboards on top or taking wherever you need to go to down the road, or like I say, just on a bad weather day, throwing the family in and second 4-wheel drive and away you go.
Plus the manual transmission makes it feel like more of a 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Trails.
Yeah, especially with the gearing in these, the automatic transmissions, it really actually makes the car actually feel kind of sluggish, because I've driven those cars as well. So I really like the manual transmission and the gear ratios that go along with that. That actually get you out of the hole a little bit better, and instead of the sluggish 3-speed.
Seats lay down. That's nice.
Yeah, pull those down on the back and put extra cargo and stuff in.
So this is all the original interior and everything.
It's all been reupholstered.
Oh, has it?
Yes.
Looks really nice.
Yeah. In fact, but the guys that reupholstered it for me used the original AMC material. So.
Well, they pulled it off. I mean,
they did.
I thought it was.
Now the door panels and stuff are all the same, but like I said, the seat upholstery is all brand new.
Right. When I'm in a 4-wheel drive, I'm used to at least a little pickup or something like that, and This is cool.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what this would be like in a race, like the guys were going to put it in. What was it, like a Baja race or something similar to that?
The Carrera, the Carrera Pan America race was a Baja race across north and south in Mexico. There was actually a couple guys that did campaign these in rally races throughout the U.S. as well. They're painted red, white, and blue, and they did pretty good with these in those races back in the day.
So they'd have somebody sitting here navigating and watching, and the driver trying to...
Just like today's modern rally races. So there was a couple guys that did campaign these SX4s in rally races in the U.S. at the time.
Taking in everything on the dash, all the different switches and things.
So we're in two-wheel drive now. I can do this, select the lever over, give it a second, then back out, and now we're in four-wheel drive.
That's it?
That's it. So
I think that's better than the new stuff they've got out there.
Right.
They think switches over.
You got all kinds of knobs and levers.
Yeah, all the knobs. And
now the original of this car, you did have to stop and switch the lever over.
Right.
But since I've switched it to shift on the fly, that's all you gotta do. So, and then to go back out, push in the clutch, shift it back over to two-wheel drive, let the clutch back out, and now we're in two-wheel drive.
And I felt the difference in the gear a little bit when you let it out.
Yeah, you can hear the transfer case, the front axles hum a little different.
So you're driving this in the winter, you're fine with two-wheel drive, come up on this black ice, things starts to move a little bit, just put it in and go.
I think the guys that originally had this car, because it's related to Jeep, that's off a Jeep Chieftain.
Yeah.
Deal. So
Is this electric locks or is that
electric locks? Yeah, but all power windows. Now some of the models did have power windows and power locks.
Right.
On all of them.
Tilt wheel.
Yes. So in the AMC's frugalness, they did use parts and pieces from different manufacturers.
Right.
And it's just kind of like today's cars. You know, they all have common parts and pieces. So this is a GM column, basically.
Okay.
There's no reason to reinvent the wheel.
No, I mean if you're trying to market something and sell it and make a profit.
Yeah. So you can take something off the shelf that's already made.
Right.
And make it work for your application.
Nice that they came out with the tag.
Yeah, that was an option. Some of the cars also have a rally gauge package. They have 4 gauges down here, oil pressure and the clock and a vacuum gauge, kind of give you an idea for the rally pack.
The stereo you put in that, it looks
I did.
Vintage, but it's not, is it? Because I heard it's got Bluetooth in it.
It does, yeah. No, it's a retro sound stereo. So it uses the same 2 identical shaft knobs. You can adjust it to fit in lots of vehicles.
Right.
But the shaft style knobs instead of the later push button stuff. So you can make that style radio work in all kinds of classic cars.
Yeah, it reminds me of the older ones that had the push buttons where it would move back and forth with the little push buttons, and you had your dials.
Right.
It's neat they have those. I need to check into those.
Yeah, retro sound. It's kind of
retro
fun.
sound.
Retro sound, yeah. So it's kind of funny, the guy was selling them on eBay. He was a dealer or something, and part of his display on eBay, he had a picture of my car on there. I said, hey, if you're going to use my car, I need a radio. So he didn't, I didn't have that radio yet. And so I said, hey, if you're going to use my car, I'll let you use my car, but you got to give me the discount price on a radio so I can put one of those radios in my car. Yeah, so.
Did you realize you just found it on there? Or
I was just
rolling
through stuff on eBay for different things, and his deal popped up for radios for AMCs, and I used that as a he was trying to use it as a selling point to sell his radios, and I said, hey, you need to give me some feedback for this, because you're getting free advertisement and I'm not getting anything.
Did you get a deep discount, or
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. No, I probably got dealer cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's the odds that you're running through over eBay and all you see your car? At least it didn't say for sale, you know.
Right. We can get through here. Have to look and see.
It's nice to hear the gearing when you're putting it down in first gear and.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, this will work. Hey. I mean, what's it made for?
We'll cut across the grass.
Yeah, let's use it. Thank you, Ray. I really appreciate that. This is fun learning about these. You don't see many AMCs anymore.
No.
You know, I've seen them, you know, when I was a lot younger as a kid, but you know, when I saw this at the car show, I was like, wait a minute, I've never seen that.
Right.
What is that? And then you mentioned it about your Javelins. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I like to tell people it's in the blood. I was born in Kenosha. My father worked for Kenosha Auto Transport and delivered new AMCs out of Denver. And so when I was 14, 15 years old, I'd go through the yard and we'd pick cars up in the lot and drive them to the trucks. My dad could put them on the trailer and deliver them to the dealerships.
Started young.
So, and the nice thing about AMC stuff is you can still get them fairly relatively cheap. But if you buy one, you better buy two, just so you can have some of the parts and stuff you might want to get.
And you know, have a place to store it.
Yeah.
I just can't believe how comfortable this is. I'm sitting here thinking what it'd be like going through these hills, but it's a park and we can't really.
Yeah. I don't think they'd appreciate it too much.
No, they wouldn't. We'd have to do it and then leave quickly.
Real quickly, yeah.
I can just look at the classic style of the 80s, you know, just the designs of even the door panels.
Right.
You know, you can just tell, and the wood on the dash and on the, you know, the little switches. I think I'd like to have one of these now.
Yeah.
The only thing is, if you have something like this, if there's a snow day at work, there's really no excuse.
No.
You're coming to work.
No. And so.
Because they know you got a 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
All right. Always something new, something different.
Picture in the upper left-hand corner is the picture when I picked up the car in Colorado, what it looked like from the eBay, and then the lower picture there is in I think about probably 12 inches of snow there at that time, out in the middle of a field, just trying out the 4-wheel drive and having some fun with the car. And then the upper right-hand picture is a car show in Colorado I went to for a big AMC convention, and the car was a big hit there.
Yeah.
You know, lots of guys have the Javelins and AMXs and things like that, but the SX4 is a little rarer car in that regard, as far as people wanting to restore it and use it as a show car. Kind of a flip book. They'd show you the different models of the car, and then the powertrain,
Oh, that's nice to have color coded. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
So
it was
it's an overlay.
It's an overlay.
Yeah. Shows you the different components of the car and kind of a breakdown of them, and how they all work together in the car.
They made great marketing material back then.
Yeah. So this one is a rare one. Took me a while to find this one. So try and take care of it, and don't display it a whole lot, because I don't want people in car shows thumbing through this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and what's probably when you're a kid, you probably wish you would have thought about it ahead of time.
Yes.
And you know, all this stuff you may have had you're accessible to with your dad having access to the cars.
Yeah.
And
Dom Jardine, he worked for American Motors in Kenosha, and he was a painter and stuff. So when he had this car and it popped up on eBay, and actually a buddy was selling it for him. Said I'm selling this car for my friend on eBay. He had Parkinson's disease, so he couldn't enjoy the car anymore, and wanted to pass it along. So I bid on it and won the bidding for $2,200. So went out there to pick up the car, and I'd heard of Dom's name before, but didn't know for sure who he was. But so I went to go pick up the car, and he says, well, after I get done with this deal, he says, hey, you want to come take a look at this? And in next to this, in a little small shed structure, was the 66 AMX prototype, the one they used for displaying the original AMX.
oh wow.
For before the AMX actually came out in '68.
Right.
So this was the prototype for that. And when he left, when he was working for AMC, they were going to destroy the car. And I guess the story goes that he said, "Hey, what are you going to do with that?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to take it." And sure enough, that's what he ended up with the car. So unfortunately, he passed away. And like I said, when he passed away, and I had this car out of his collection, I thought, I'm going to go ahead and pay tribute to what they were planning on doing. It'd be a better story if they actually raced the car, but due to health issues and stuff, which is understandable, they never were able to race the car in this Pan America rally race. But I thought, well, I'll pay tribute to what they were going to do.
Right. I want to thank you for taking the time to show us about your SX4 and talking about AMC in general and some of the other models, because this really is new to me. Like we talked about the Javelins. I do remember the Javelins, but over time, if you don't see them, you kind of forget.
Right.
So when you mentioned that at the other car show, when we were talking about this one and looking at this one, it was like, man, this guy's...
Yeah, I can go to a car show and I'd be the only AMC guy there with 1,000 cars, and still have the only AMC. So that's the uniqueness of it.
Something special, right? That's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button for me, and we'll see you next time on Dude with an Autotude.